What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, what we're going to be discussing is a very common topic when it comes to improving your mechanics, and that's how to edit faster in Fortnite Chapter 4. Editing is obviously one of the most fundamental aspects of your mechanics and helps you a ton when it comes to piece control and just winning your fights in general. So with that in mind, in today's video, I'll be giving you guys all the information you're going to need to know in order to become a faster, more consistent editor. Before we get into it though, be sure to drop a like on the video if it helps you out, and consider subscribing as well if you're new to the channel and you want to see more content just like this in the future. And lastly, if you want to show some extra support, it would really mean a lot to me if you could use code Teckoh in the Fortnite item shop, as it's 100% free for you and it seriously does help me out a bunch. As always, a massive thank you to everyone who uses my code. You guys are awesome. But with all that said and without further ado, let's get into today's video. So starting off today's video, the first thing we're going to talk about is the most optimal settings that you can use in order to edit faster. Now, as you'd expect, the most optimal settings are going to depend on various factors like whether you play keyboard and mouse or controller, as well as just what you generally prefer in your gameplay. But with that said, a few factors are going to be relatively consistent. The first factor to consider here is one for both keyboard and mouse and controller players, and this one is confirm edit on release. Confirm edit on release has been a highly debated topic for a few years now, and if you're not familiar with it, confirm edit on release basically makes it so that when you edit, you only have to press your edit bind and then select your edit squares in order to perform the edit. So the instant you finish selecting your edit squares, your edit is confirmed. On the other hand, with confirm edit on release off, you have to press your edit bind, select the tiles, and then press your edit bind again to confirm it. When it comes to this setting, I really can't give you guys a specific yes or no answer as to whether you should use it. On one hand, you definitely can increase your edit speed a bit, but it also does take quite the adjustment from the regular edit mode, and a lot of players find that confirm edit on release tends to make their edits much less consistent. So this is definitely something you're going to want to play around with. I recommend you give it a fair shot if you haven't already tried it before, because it definitely can help, but I would not say that it's absolutely necessary. I'd say it really depends on the person. I think most people are better off with confirm edit on release, but it's really going to depend on you. If you enjoy it, then continue using it, and if not, then no big deal. Second up is a pretty simple consideration, which is your sensitivity. I won't spend too much time on this one since it's pretty simple. Overall, you really want to have a good sensitivity that allows you a mix of everything. You want to be able to smoothly hit each edit tile, but you also want to have enough speed where you can edit fast. On controller, it's as simple as adjusting your editing sensitivity multiplier until you find what works. And on keyboard and mouse, you do need to balance it with your aim and building since there's no specific setting for it. It can be a bit difficult, but you should find something solid if you simply go for trial and error. The last consideration when it comes to your settings is going to be your edit bind. Your edit bind simply refers to what button you press to start your edit and to confirm your edit if you don't use confirm on release. For keyboard and mouse, it's pretty simple. I recommend using a very close bind to WASD, preferably one you can press with your index finger. Personally, I like to use E for my edit bind as I find this allows me to edit super fast, and I recommend it to you guys as my #1 choice, simply because it's so close and convenient. You may need to switch some other keybinds around to accommodate this setting, but I do think it's a worthwhile change. Back in the day, editing was kinda second to building and you didn't really need to edit very fast, but nowadays they're both pretty much hand in hand. So I would say having your edit bind super close is really helpful. On controller, you do have a little bit more flexibility in terms of which bind to use, and I personally like to use R3 as my starting edit bind and then L3 to confirm the edit, which is basically double edit binds. So basically what this does is you press R3 to start your edit, then you select your edit, and then you can press L3. The reason this works so well is because you have two different binds, so you can press them with two different fingers, and it really just makes it so you can edit so much faster. And in case you don't know, L3 and R3 are simply where you take your movement and aim stick and press down on them. Of course, you don't have to worry about double edit binds if you use confirm edit on release since you only need one bind, but I really do like the double edit binds on controllers since they're super convenient, they allow you to edit super fast, and they still allow you the control you want. On keyboard and mouse, back in the day, some people used to use a similar setup with two edit binds, but mouse binds are generally best for building, so most pros ended up switching off from that and either do confirm edit on release or just basic editing. So with that in mind, once you determine whether you want to use confirm edit on release and you choose your best edit bind as well as the right sensitivity, that should cover all the settings you're going to need when it comes to editing fast. Of course, things like getting better FPS and improving your ping will help, but I wouldn't really consider those a big part of this particular video. But with that in mind, if you do want to boost your FPS or lower your ping, I do have plenty of videos on those topics if you want to take a look as well and hopefully step up your editing speed even more. So getting into the next section of today's video, and the next topic we're going to be going over is how to actually practice editing faster in Fortnite Chapter 4. The biggest key to editing faster is simply going to be using the most efficient practice methods to improve your speed. We're mostly going to focus on using creative maps for this since there are tons of different maps that target specific skills as they pertain to editing. The first map I want to go over is going to be a simple map for my beginner to intermediate editors out there, which is Flea's Editing Dictionary. This map has been out for almost 3 years at this point, but it still stands as one of the most effective ways for beginner to intermediate players to improve their editing. Simply hop into the map, choose one of the 4 sections, and you'll be presented with tons of different editing scenarios that you can simply grind out. If you're a less advanced editor trying to master the fundamentals, or even someone just trying to adjust to some new settings, this map can seriously help you out a ton. So with that in mind, I'll toss the code up on screen right now so you can start using it. Moving on to our second practice map though for your edit speed, and this one is going to be Raider 464's Mechanics Training training map V3. This map has been one of my favorites for a long time now, and for very good reason, as it covers so many different mechanical skills all in one map. I want to show you guys a few sections in this map, and starting off, I want to cover the edit crosshair training section. Crosshair placement is a very fundamental part of your editing. To put it simply, crosshair placement refers to moving your mouse the minimum distance between the tiles you select, and what this does is it allows you to edit faster. Not only does it allow you to have faster edits, but proper crosshair placement can also make you much more consistent and result in you missing less edits overall. So what this section does is it puts you in various situations where you can see a red line showing the most efficient edit pattern for that particular edit, and you're basically meant to grind it out over and over again and get better at your crosshair placement. As silly as it sounds, you can think of this as aim training for your editing, as Raider himself puts it. The next part of this map I want to show you guys is the piece control tunnels. If you're familiar with piece control, it basically refers to controlling the fight through builds and edits, and the goal of these piece control tunnels is to have you do that while going through a tunnel. Basically, you're supposed to build everywhere you can and edit through to get through the tunnel. This helps a lot when it comes to improving various types of edits, improving your overall speed, and building some of those fundamentals for piece control. Moving on from that though, our next section is also going to be in the piece control realm, and this one is the piece control X peak training section. What this section does is it puts you in a room with a bot where you're supposed to basically piece control it and shoot it. The only caveat here is that instead of simply shooting it, you need to get a good peek, because if you select the normal or hard mode, what the target actually does is it shoots you back if you peek for too long. That means you have to find a solid right hand peek, minimize the amount of time you spend peeking, and this skill carries over tremendously toward real fights where your opponent is obviously always trying to shoot you, even when you piece them up. But with that in mind guys, those three sections should help you out a lot when it comes to improving your edit speed. Although some of it may be a bit advanced for your level, as you progress you should become more comfortable with everything, and you should find your editing speed improving a lot. Moving on to our final practice method though, and this one is simply free building. What free building refers to is the act of simply jumping into your own created map and building whatever you feel like building. These can be things like tunnels, high ground retakes, double and triple edits, and whatever else comes to mind. It really doesn't take much mental work, and it's something you can just jump in and do while listening to some music or something, or even watching a wonderful Teckoh video on your other monitor. You could do something specific, for example trying to master a triple edit or a retake, or you can just jump in and build an edit as your heart guides you. Either way, this can help you improve your building and editing pretty easily, and really does not take a lot of manual work. I mean, you're literally just jumping in and building whatever you feel like. So when you want to chill but still get some decent practice in, definitely consider just hopping in and grinding out some free builds. Lastly guys, the last piece of advice I want to give you guys before we wrap up this video is simply to be patient. Improving your edit speed takes a lot of time because it often involves finding entirely new settings to use, playing a ton of creative to improve your speed, and overall it really does take a lot of work and time. It's not a quick or easy process, so my biggest piece of advice is to take what you learned in this video, consistently apply it, and simply be patient with it. As time passes, you should see some tremendous improvements in your editing speed and consistency, and should hopefully find yourself winning more fights as a result. But with all that said guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on how to edit faster in Fortnite Chapter 4. Overall, by optimizing your settings as well as using the best practice methods, you should find yourself becoming a much more consistent and much faster editor. If you found this video helpful, then be sure to drop a like on it, and consider subscribing as well if you're new to the channel and you want to see more content just like this in the future. And if you want to show some extra support, it would really mean a lot to me if you could use code Teckoh in your Fortnite item shop. It's 100% free for you, it only takes a few seconds to type in, and it seriously does help me out a bunch. As always, a massive thank you to everyone who uses my code, you guys are awesome. And finally guys, let me know down in the comments what tips and tricks videos, or even just regular content videos, you guys want to see next on the channel. I'm always looking for new video ideas, so I appreciate all of your recommendations, and who knows, maybe if you drop a comment and tell me what you want to see, maybe you'll see it. But with that said, thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.